Hi guys, how you going? Campbell here from Autodidactic Channel. Hope you're all having a spectacular day. And of course, autodidactic means to be self-educated, and we all need to be self-educated because, as we know and as we are looking into, his story is not our story. So yeah, the narrative we've been given of our past is clearly false. And that's what we're looking into here on Autodidactic. And today I want to look into star cities. Now, you've probably heard of star forts or bastion forts, and you may have heard of star cities, but star cities are basically the bigger structure around star forts, because what star forts actually are, most of them are just the citadels of larger star cities. We also have satellite stars as well, which are sort of a different thing. But yeah, all these forts, they're part of a much bigger system, as we can see here in front of us. And this is, at the moment, we're in Bescanon in France, I believe it is. And as you can see, big, huge star city, all walled, and someone standing up the front having a look here. Alright, so let's get into it, guys. We're going to have a look at Bescanon in France, which is in front of us here. As you can see, big walled star city. All the usual suspects. And there we have the map of it. And we're also going to go to Germany and have a look at Strasbourg. So let's jump into it. Now I'll just show you a few quick pics. This is another pic, but as you see in this one, look what we've got up here. Just completely decimated. I'm not sure if that's writing there, but just ruins on top of a hill, Bescanon. And here is another fairly similar picture. As you can see, it's got a bit of vegetation, but this is just, you know, you can see the walls here. It's all buried in mud. The same thing, this is the destroyed building up the top. But this one, we have a church here popping out of the side of the hill as well. And yeah, this is Bescanon. Alright, now with this picture we get to see a bit more. So we can see up on the hill here, I'm guessing up there somewhere is what we were just looking at. It may be here, the old ruins. But this may be after they've rebuilt, I'm not sure. Buildings popping out of the side of the mountain here. Might be more there. And this looks like an old wall up here. And then, of course, down the bottom here we have the bulk of the city. We've got the usual things, you know, the cathedrals with their domes and spires. It's all walled in. We have the canal. And up here we can see part of the star as well. Whoa, keeps going. So quite a big star there, as you see. Yep, Bescanon, Besançon in France. Here's another one. So this is, yeah, the Chateau Le Duc on the hill in Besançon, and again, just totally destroyed. And this looking very much like mud flows. And here we have a artist's rendition, and again, as we see, just, and this is what I want to point out as well, is all these features that are consistent throughout all these star cities. One is man-made canals. As you can see, this is a man-made wall. This is a man-made canal. Of course, the stone bridges with the arches, the walls, walled cities. You know, the domes, the antennas and spires, the star fort shapes. And this one, as you can see, has it all in pretty good nick back here as well. And this actual Bescanon's fort is still a pretty nice one, which we'll have a look at in a minute. Alright, so let's jump into it. So this is Bescanon in France. Okay, and here we have, this is from a book. This is a book all about Bescanon and its fort. Well, it's a star. They're actually not forts, as I'll point out. They've got nothing to do with, military, defense, or war, or any of that stuff. The whole story is false. As you can see, this built straight into the hill, or is that covered up maybe? Obviously, they're always staggered, and we're starting to notice as well that so often we have the city in the front and a big hill at the back with a fort on it. I'm not sure what... Oh, yep, there you go. That's a wall coming down in the hill. Something popping out there. All red brick. Oh, look at the detail in this. That's amazing. These things that we see everywhere, these sort of cantilevered, I don't know what they are, little domed things. I just can't believe the detail in that. And again, could this be drawn by hand? What do you think? Of course, they've put the old rooster up there. And yeah, big red brick city down below. Here's another shot. I think this is the backside. Look at this, nice big walkway. I've got some people here carrying someone. And yeah, just what we're starting to see everywhere. Nice old dome tower here. And here's some of the star, some of the front of the star, just so you can see the geometry they're using. Obviously all based on something and being turned into forts. And this shot just is a side view, obviously a cross section. 1714 is the date given, and this just shows you the level of the land. So is this, I don't know, is this what they've drawn in later? Was the true level down here and it got filled in? Because you can see these are all down here. Or are they built into the ground? What's going on? Because as we can see here, we've got some kind of pump. And obviously that water is a massive part of these star cities and these installations. Got domes up here. So I've got a few sort of cross sections, but we're still trying to work out exactly what they were used for, and I'm pretty sure that they were multi-purpose. And again, here's the wall. So I'm not really sure. So that, yeah, they've definitely got something to do with water and pumping, but they've also definitely got something to do with geometry and things like cymatics and fractals and water and energy, and yeah, they were doing stuff that we're still catching up with. Here we have, what's this, elevation of bastion fort? Yeah, so I mean, what are these? Holes going through the wall or into the ground? Not really sure. So just a bit of the fences, but look at this, is all wood. And as we know, these are not made of wood. And this one, so again, there's something to do with pumping and water. This is a drawbridge. We've got the water here, or the man-made canal, the channel. As you can see, it's got walls. I'm not sure what this is. And then that must be a top section, I'm guessing, with a drop bridge. So there you go. That's the old drawbridge for the castle that we hear so much about. And again, see how they kind of built into the ground, or at least this one is. It's drawn that way. I've got the Antiquitech here, all the arches and everything, but look at the levels here. So is this part of design, or is this how it was found? Because these are old world buildings. We're told they were all built, starting around sort of late 1500s, 1600s. First one in Italy, and then they went to France. But they failed to mention in that narrative that, they're actually all through the Americas. They're in Australia, they're in Africa. But they failed to tell us how these ones appeared, and they're exactly the same as the ones in Europe. And here's another shot. I'll leave the link to this book in the description so you can have a look at it. But just, look at stuff like this. And I've got this tower up here. We've got this built, in between, or supposedly in between this gap here. More walls down here and then down into the water. So I don't know, was this part of the original structure? Did something happen, or have they built in there? Because it's a lot of work. It's pretty tricky stuff. So there's obviously a reason. And this one here, you can see it. It's just built straight into this, and half buried. So these are obviously pictures of what they've found. They're trying to map everything. Because as we know, the parasites love to map things and then sort of change them a bit so that they change the narrative. Okay, so here we are on the Google Maps. And this is Bescanon. And I mean, straight away, you can probably see some of the telltale features. As we zoom in, you'll see these streets. See how they're not square. This is a big feature. They're just these funny angles, winding, funny bendy roads, angles. And you also get buildings that are built, on funny angles up down here. See how this one's on an angle? That looks like a big cathedral. And, oh, there we go. Couldn't hide it. This is, obviously some of the star. See how they're calling this the Citadel? So this is what is commonly, called a bastion fort or a star fort. They're just these smaller parts. So that's quite a large citadel. They're normally walled, and then in the middle you get like a pentagon or, octagon, hexagon, things like that. And of course we have the water. Always water, and it does cut through the stars pretty much all the time as well. And we always get these shapes. They're always built. This is a rather large one, but they're always built with these curves. And the main cities are always on or near one of these curves. And another feature is these islands. There's pretty much always islands in these canals. So, I'm thinking this has got to do with, literally splitting the current just to keep it energized, the water. And they're using the water, obviously, to drink, but I think they're using it for more, and they're structuring it some way, which has obviously been mentioned, by Martin Liedtke, and John Levi touched on it as well. Now, what I want to do is I've actually overlaid some maps. So if we go to properties, we do this, look at that, something appears. So this is a map from that book we were looking at, from the 1700s, that book. I'm not sure what decade, but as you see, that's the map there. And I've overlaid it, so it's not perfect, but as you see, if I pull this back, you can see there we've got the canal, and we've got everything pretty much in line. So if we go in, you can see down here, that's the wall of the map. And if we take it away, we have all these structures. We've got a wall here, we've got all the angles. It's a bit hidden. And you can see there used to be water running through here. And it's obviously been filled in. See this kind of bit? So that was like a port. And you can see it's been filled in and turned into something. But we still get this angle here. And if we come down further, see, it's not lined up perfectly, but it comes down into this star now. Oops, oh God, I've moved it. What I wanted to look at, hopefully I didn't move that too much, is some of the buildings in here. So what we can do is we can go down, because they show us where these buildings are, these big buildings. They've claimed this one with their flag. So if we take that away, actually I've moved it a bit too much. That building should be up here somewhere. Yeah, you'll see that the building is actually still there. I believe it's this one. This big old world building here. And if we go and have a look, we'll see what it is. And of course they're renovating this. I'm like, oh gosh, doing the whole tower. But look, there you go. Flying buttresses. Oh, we're in an alleyway. There we go. Mud flood windows. So these are obviously old world buildings being refaced. But yeah, big cathedral. And this cathedral, as I said, that was on the map from the 1700s. So that map is accurate. And this was a star city. And if we look, there's another one right here. Now, is that one on the map? I don't know. If we come down, let's go here. I'm guessing. Oh, look, this mud flood windows. Look at them right down in the ground. And okay, some huge building in there. Not the best view. Now, something to point out is these mud flood windows. On top we have roads. This has all been resurfaced, and we see this in old pictures as well. We see the bollards, we see the street lights on this new level. So at some point, there's been a flood that's buried them up to here, and at some point someone's come along and cleared it out. Don't know how much depth they've cleared out, and then they've re-roaded it. And a lot of these old pictures, you see the cobblestone. So they've come along and put cobblestone, the old tech, like I said, the bollards and the lights and things. So yeah, what happened? I mean, because a lot of that we think of as old world tech. So this is a question that I need to look into a bit more, is when was it all cleaned up and redone and new tech put in? Because then when we see the 1850s and things and people being released, we've got these cities and they're full of the old world tech, but clearly they're mud flooded, but they've got cobblestone roads and all this stuff in them. So not quite sure what's going on there. Okay, let's have a look at this. Woohoo! I did another one. Okay, so this is out the front. Okay, so as you can see, so yeah, this is the canal that was going through the middle of the Star City, and as you can see, it's got a nice big crown on the top here. And if we go down and have a look, you'll see that it's still there. So can you see this? Let me get rid of that map. Can you see that? So this is pretty much what we call, this is like a star fort. This is what they call star forts or bastion forts. You can see that's a very nice looking star. And in the middle, they may have taken some out, but this is where, yeah, normally that would be a square or a pentagon or hexagon or something. So should we have a quick look and see if we can get in there? Or is it going to let us? How far can we get in? Let's go have a look here. And most of these places are always, they're always taken over by the government because they say they're military. I think that's just a way of keeping people out and asking questions. Old world lamp right here in the new level. Old world buildings, mud flooded. So here we go from the old world tech on top. And Starfort wall. All been resurfaced by the looks of it. And this just looks like red brick, like brick in there. Just old brick has been covered at some point. But you can clearly see that's brick. And lots of buildings, unfortunately it's not the best view. Down there, just big old star fort, and again old world lights. And look at that, just looking, thousands of years old pretty much, isn't it? Looks like it's very ancient. Yeah, so there is a star. And again, you can see the funny shaped buildings here, these angles. So these are what are in star forts. So what you're going to look for is obviously these sort of shapes, the stars, and obviously they've always got these triangular bastions or diamond shapes. They often have the citadels in the middle, like I said, the red brick squares or pentagons, etc. And then these funny shaped buildings. See this, how it's built on this funny angle and a curve. You see that all the time. The streets are like that as well, and they build the buildings to these funny angles. And you often see buildings that are literally like triangle shaped and things. Obviously man-made canals. Now a lot of these, but they're not, and you can tell because they've got man-made banks and also just too many straight edges. And they're always, we always see these curves. And if water runs down, as they tell us, from mountains just down to the sea, how do these curve? Why would it go around this curve? Why wouldn't it just cut through here? They say, oh, well, maybe that's tougher rock and everything. But then they tell us that water will eat through anything given enough time. So, no, it doesn't make sense. Up on the hill here, nice big hill. Now, I think this is what we were looking at before, this decimated castle. I think that might be the remains of it up here. We can see again. See this star? You can see, oh, there you go. Look at that. That's another star there. Half buried in the bush. And look, they've just whacked a building in there. No respect, I tell you. No respect. And yeah, these hills are another sign. Hills with bits popping out of them. Yeah, obviously star forts. And the old world buildings, like we just looked at, the old churches and things. And bridges as well. I mentioned bridges. So no doubt if we come down to one of these, we're going to find an old world bridge. Let us look. Oh, that's not too old. Well, God, look at all these buildings though. And here you go. This is what I meant with the canal. Man-made banks. Buildings always along the side, huge 3-4 story brick buildings. And look at this. Nice big old building. But no doubt there is an old world bridge around somewhere. And the islands again, as I mentioned as well. And the second city I wanted to have a quick look at tonight is Strasbourg in Germany. And here we go. This is it from above. And again, we can see straight away we've got the canal, the water coming through. We've got islands in here. You can see these have been altered. It happens a lot. They fill things in, build over them and change it. But clearly, islands in the stream, in the canal. And just looking at this canal, just the straight edges. You see these straight edges everywhere. And they often have tributaries that look very man-made that are going off into the stars, and often, well, they always go into and around the stars. At least they would have originally. It's been cut off a lot. So Strasbourg, and yes, let's turn on the map. Oh, what that mean? And so here is a Star City map of Strasbourg back in the day. And as you can see, huge Star City down here. Here we have a citadel with a nice crown. And these are the satellite stars that we find. They're not connected physically. I mean, they probably are. We can see tracks here, but they're separate from the main structure. And as you can see, this one, big double star, and it's got all these crowns coming off it. It's got its own little satellite. So this is a big build out, and man-made, obviously man-made islands and canals and stuff, a whole lot. So let's see what we can see. Is this stuff still here? As you can see with the islands, now that again this map isn't perfectly matched up, but you can see what they do is they do this all the time. They just fill over, smash down whatever's there, and turn all these islands into ports basically. And so there was a star down here, as we can see. and they've destroyed it, but we still get these funny angled buildings. And I'd be willing to bet that's probably an old world building if it's going to let us look at it. So there you go. So this is old world. What we'd expect to find there as well in a star fort, in a star city. So that is where the old star was. That would be a remnant from inside it, I would think. And then the rest looks like it's been covered up. And this parkland, again, you'll notice parklands are also a big feature of star cities that have been covered up and buried. Now the second one was over here. We had this sort of structure here. And again, if we come down, we can see that they've just smashed it and built industrial areas all over it. Not really much left of that one at all. And the third one was sort of here. And they always turn them into industrial areas. As you can see, it's not perfect, like I said. But yeah, so the islands are there, but they've all been changed, and the stars on there have been destroyed. Now, if we come back to this side, this is the main star city. So this is where we see these funny shaped roads and buildings. See how they're all just nothing straight. They're just all funny angles, funny bends, and they just look red as well from the top. And see funny angles like this. See these buildings here? How they're built on these funny angles. That's and just roads like this, very reminiscent of star forts. And we also find these things like this, geometry in the ground. Looks like a nice old building. And golf courses and things like this, which is completely on top of this star. Not sure if it's a golf course here, so you can see the old bit of that crown there, and then this is the rampart coming out. But they've built something over the top of it. Gardens, they love to do that, golf courses, gardens, all this kind of stuff, and they just bury what was down there. Here we can see the nice canal coming through and the center of the star. Oh, hell. There, so you can see that's that center bit. So, this one, yeah, not lined up the best really, is it? Something like that now. You can see again, we have these buildings like this one. See the cross on the top, and there again, and these are the cathedrals. So if we take that away and go down, we'll find there's the cathedral still there. So let's have a look at it. Where do we want to stand here? And we find ourselves in the middle of, look at this, old world, complete old world city. Look at this wall here, see this? You see this a lot as well, this step feature, and this, because it'll be down the other side as well, that's actually the same shape as we find in the Great Pyramid, in the Queen's Chamber, I believe it is. Old world buildings, just, that we see everywhere. Cobblestone, this is what I mean, the cobblestone, the old world, roads, but some of these buildings are mud flooded like that. Are they windows? But look at this, complete build out, old world. And then we get this. Look at that. And yeah, wow, there's just so much you can say about this. I need to do some more videos just on cathedrals. Look at these doorways, how they sort of fan out. What's that word? They sort of, come out like a funnel or like a speaker. Like a speaker. Look at, I'll see if I can get a better view. Click that man in the head. Nice to see people out. Not social distancing, no masks. I do approve. Yeah, so look at these speaker doors. And then obviously we'll always get, the shapes and the geometry, but look what's on top of this. See these bits coming up? I mean, that reminds me of an organ, of a pipe organ. It's not buffering very well. And of course, look at the size of this thing. It's just mammoth. I mean, look at these doors here. Look at this doorway and the size of the person. She's not even, it's more than double her height. So this is, obviously a big feature of the Star Cities is these old world buildings. Let me just get rid of that. Oh God, what happened? Oh my God, where did I go? I just did a quick trip across the earth. Okay, there. So Strasbourg. So yeah, this has got old world Star City written all over it. Look at this kind of geometry that fans out. We see this a lot. Now we've got the angles, not the best contrast. And what you'll start to see is there's lots of these sort of grid things. You'll see a lot of them come off actual circles are still there, but then we get these boulevard things. Most of them being ripped apart, but they used to all have water in them, like reflection pools and the arcs, and they'd always got to these big domed buildings, like the Capitol buildings. And we still see, big boulevards and things like that in France. Here's another one we see. And looking at this shape, I haven't heard it mentioned yet, but something that reminds me of a baseball field. And you see this shape everywhere in these old cities. So is that another way that they're covering things up, maybe? Keeping the geometry, but putting their facade on it. And here we go. Look, this is actually what I was talking about. See this boulevard? This is probably filled in. Used to be water. Up here, that would have been a fountain, I would think. And then we get these buildings at the end. So let's just go and see what it looks like on the ground. Oh, look at that. Beautiful mud flutters. See, everywhere. And yeah, see this I would say this would have been like a reflection pool like you see in Washington. And then comes up. And we've got this at the end. Okay, that's a bit of a different building. Has it got the dome? Looks like it's been turned into a hotel. But yeah, we can see big dome here. Okay, so if you can see this building, this looks like it's all been completely refacaded. Because just look at the shape here. We've got this, the triangle with a portal in it. Okay, we see this everywhere. And look at these. Are these columns that have been completely, just had their shape changed, just completely facaded? Because that's what that looks like to me. That looks like that could be one of the, what we call the Capitol buildings, but just completely redone. What do you reckon? Because like I said, that's normally the Capitol buildings with the columns and the domes and the, the portico things that are at the end of these boulevards, and there we even get an obelisk. So that may have been just the obelisk, or it may have been water, because you often get an obelisk or the arc, or both. It may be both. It may be one at each end. I'm still, because most of these cities have been fairly ripped apart. But I mean, how is that place? So just some of the features you find here again, places like this where they've clearly just come in and, bulldoze things and turn them into parks, golf courses and things. And just I wanted to quickly look at this crown. It was down here, wasn't it? So this is the crown. As you can see, we get the crown shape there. And so in here was what was called the Citadel. As you can see, we get all these funny old world buildings, all these funny shapes. Down here, another big old world building, and this looks like the boulevard, because again, in the Citadel, in the Star City, there should be, these boulevards and these reflection pools. You can kind of see up here something's been changed and filled in. We've still got the shapes, and looks like the building may have been taken down because it doesn't quite look like there's one there anymore. But you still see these familiar things, and you can start to see things that have been changed. This building here looks interesting, so let's just have, let's see if we can see it. No, it's just a new building. Okay, so this is, okay, look at that. So this is all new. So they've rebuilt over the top of, it's all new. Well, that's very disappointing. So there we go. This is the Star City of, where are we? Strasbourg in Germany. And here we have a map of Strasbourg back in the day, and here is that cathedral that we just looked at. So clearly drawn there, completely finished and completed. And this was, I'm not sure, what was the date of this? I have to have a look, I'm not sure. 1600s, I'm pretty sure it was. But look what we get up here. And yeah, just old world as, like I said, here's all these funny shaped, roads, funny angles, triangles. In the middle we've got, I don't know what this is, a little walled area. Oh god, that looks like gallows, or like a guillotine, I mean. Oh gosh, and look at this tall tower, I wonder if that's still there. Didn't have a look for that one, but yeah, so there you go. And these were, like I said, completely built out and mapped back in the day. 1600s, I believe. And here we've just got some pics of Strasbourg. And as you can see, huge dome up here. And look, we've got two people standing on the top. We've got the 4 bits around the edge. And on top of a massive building, mud flooded, not level, everything in symmetry, antiquitech. It's just all the same, we've got the half domes here, the triangles here, the columns, and of course miniature people, these tiny little people. And here's another one, and showing us the technology of the day, horse and buggy. And of course with mud flooders, as we say, stairs up and lower levels. It's what they always do. You've got windows in the ground here and stairs going up to the second level. And yeah, just a ridiculous building that I mean, God, this is just flooded as, completely built out back in the day. And this would have been, present back in the 1600s in that map. Here's another shot of Strasbourg, a much bigger one that we looked at before. Another one. And as you can see, there's tons of these. Here we have a nice shot here showing us all the antiquitech. And it even tells us what all these things are, if you can read. What is this, German? Yeah, German. And yeah, here's a star again. So it's definitely all there. This is the same, all in the same places. Got a few towns out here. And so this is the thing, if you live in a town or a city, because these are all the same, all that looks to me, basically all the major cities with any kind of old world buildings in them, they're star cities, guys. And like I said, there are things in all the star cities. So if you have things like man-made canals, you're living in a star city. If you have the walls of the city, you're in a star city. Of course, if you have a citadel or anything like that, the star itself, you're in a star city. And look at the fractal down here, the fractal stacking on that. And again, here's that building. That's what we just looked at. That cathedral, that huge thing. So this is how old it was. It was, 400 or 500 years ago. It was standing, looking exactly the same. Water through the middle of your city. It's a star city. And if you've got these old cathedrals, star city, guys, it just means that they've bulldozed most of it over, or most of it's buried, and they just build on top of it. But basically, we live in a star city world. This is a nice old drawing, and again, just featuring this huge cathedral. And again, of course, what are cathedrals, right? The energy station, maybe the healing station, the good vibration station. And again, man-made canals. This shape on the buildings, that's actually a bit different. That's a bit look like antennas or something. Maybe it's shadowing, but normally they don't go down. Normally they step like that. But yeah, all built out right on the banks. And they tell us all this was done all across the earth in a couple of hundred years, basically. But they don't tell us where any of the bricks came from or anything. Always the statues, these big statues, these boulevards, signs of star cities. And like I said, these buildings at the end with the domes and the columns, they always seem to be at the end of these boulevards, and a lot of these boulevards are filled in. They used to be reflection pools, water. And then we have also obelisks and the arches. Here we go again. Look at this building. Oh my God! And that again, they love to do this different geometry, don't they? Like a round building with a round dome going into a square building with a triangle. It happens all the time. Here's that roof again, like that. The step effect. I see that a lot through this part of Europe. And there's our boy again, standing strong. So yeah, get out there, guys. You will find stuff like this wherever you are. Pretty much. Go out in your city, you'll see old world buildings, you'll see mud flutters. If you're lucky, you'll have a canal or some old world bridges, walls, maybe a citadel. Because a lot of these cities, they still, especially in Europe, they still have the full stars in them. And like I said, all cities were stars, and they've all been built over. They used to have the other thing is, the funny shaped roads, and then, the parasites have come in and turned it all into boxes, into squares, into left brain stuff, when it used to be, nice angles and flowing curves and geometry and creativeness and right brain stuff. And of course, it all used to be built for the people to make our lives better, to give us, free energy and healthy food and charged water and all this kind of stuff. And it's all been taken over and smashed and destroyed and hidden from us. They've tried to hide this, but we found it. You cannot keep a good story down. So there you go, guys. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that little romp just through a few starter cities. But what I really wanted to point out is that there are certain features in all cities all across the realm that basically are telling us that all cities were star cities. So get out and check your local neighbourhood. Now, if you do want to get involved in the conversation, there's a link below for our Mewe group where you can join the conversation. Lots of posts and information there. And we're trying to get like a research type group going where we can really start to crack some of these questions that we've got. There's also links to my other channels, guys. I've got other channels, so check them out. Links are below. Give me a like, a subscribe. And of course, thank you for everyone who supports this channel in whatever way you can, by liking, subscribing, sharing, and of course, everyone who supports me through Patreon, PayPal, and my merch stores. So thanks for spending some time with me, guys. Hope you had fun with that one. Have a spectacular day, and I shall talk to you all on the next upload. Bye for now.